So you are considering completely killing off your lawn and starting from scratch, or else you probably wouldn't have clicked on this video. So today I'm going to show you step by step what to do to get the best results. Daggone. Now before we get into the steps of how you do this, I want to talk real quick about why you might want to do this. So here, my front yard, I actually killed off everything 3 or 4 years ago, reseeded it with GCI turf type tall fescue, and I will say this is a fantastic grass. It has been awesome, super dark green and thick. It does really well in the heat. And so I did a renovation, and then last year I did another renovation following the same steps, but I wanted to try out Kentucky bluegrass. And so the reason why I wanted to do this is because I wanted one type of grass in here. I had a hodgepodge of different grasses and weeds, and I just never got it looking exactly the way I wanted it, because it will never be perfect unless you do this. And so that is one reason you want a perfect stand of grass. Another reason might be you want to switch grass types completely. Maybe you have tall fescue, you want to real mow really short, so you want Kentucky bluegrass or ryegrass, or maybe you want to kill off your fescue and go Bermuda. And so those are two common reasons why people would want to do a full kill off and renovation. So most recently, last fall, I killed off this side yard. I killed off the backyard. If you want to watch the playlist where I go into more in depth of each of the steps, I'll link that playlist right here in the corner. But real quick, I want to go through step by step what you need to do to completely tear down your lawn so that you can build it back up and make it even better. The first thing to think about is when to start. Now, I'm putting this video out the first week of August. It's probably too late. I don't mean it's too late like you can't do it, but you should have already started, or you should start right now, because time is ticking, people. You got to get going. So once you have decided you're committing to this process, and you need to commit, because once you go in, there is no going back. So you can't pull out of this one. And basically, we want to start with, I'd say at least two, maybe even 3 rounds of glyphosate. That's the ingredient found in Roundup. You can buy generic versions of that. I'll leave some links down below if you want to check them out. But 2 to 3 rounds with about 2 weeks in between. So we want to spray, and so what I did here, sprayed the entire lawn, mix it up according to the label in your sprayer, mix in a surfactant with it. It helps it stick to the grass blades, helps get a better kill. You can put some dye in there if you want, so you make sure that you cover the entire area and nothing gets left untreated, because it will not die. And once we have that sprayed on the lawn, it's kind of a waiting game at this point. You're going to wait about a week, see how the effects that you've got, and then I'm going to recommend go ahead, start watering your lawn. Now you want to water your, I know it sounds weird, you want to water your dead lawn or your dying lawn that you're killing, but you want anything that is alive to grow. You want to encourage it to grow so that you can kill it. So start watering your lawn 2 weeks in, so you spray, and then 2 weeks later you're going to scalp it. So scalp it as low as it can go, bag that crap up, get it out of here, and you're going to spray a second time, and we're just repeating this process. So spray it, water it, encourage anything to grow, scalp anything that you can, and then spray it a third time if you can. That is ideal, 3 rounds. That way you make sure that anything is alive in there is good and dead. You can kind of start to see why you have to start early. Recommended July, August at the latest to start this, because it just takes a long time. I do not recommend just spraying your lawn and seeding it, because you're going to miss stuff. There's going to be stuff still alive in there, and you're not going to be happy. If you're doing this, you're going through the trouble, do it right. So at this point in the process, your lawn should be completely toasted and brown and dead, and you're probably the embarrassment of the neighborhood, and your wife is probably embarrassed, or your husband, whoever, probably embarrassed of you. But that's okay, because they don't see the end results and we do. So the next step right here is to go ahead and get as much of this dead junk out of here as we can. So either rake it up, which is terrible, but it's doable, I've done it, or get something like the Sunjo dethatcher. That thing is fantastic, it does an excellent job. Get it in there, rip it up, go multiple directions, bag all that stuff out and get it out of here. Now I do want you to understand, you don't have to get every piece of dead grass out of here. You don't. Just get enough out of there so that you can seed down into the soil, rough up the soil a little bit, and then it is time for what I think is the most fun part. it's always the most fun part, and that is spreading your seed. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So what grass seed you go with is going to be determined by way too many factors than I can address right here. Pick one that you like. There are a lot of good ones out there. I will put the ones that I recommend down in the description down below. However, pick your seed, go ahead, spread it according to the label directions. The label on the bag will tell you how much you need to put down per 1,000 square feet. Go with that, put it down, enjoy it. Once you have your seed completely spread over the entire area, go ahead, take that Sunjoe dethatcher, or go ahead and take your rake or power rake or slit seeder, whatever you've got, something that's got some tines, and run it back over top the seed. What that's going to do, it's going to help create seed to soil contact, work the seed down into the soil. I like doing this more than using a slit seeder. I like having control over where the seed goes. I know a lot of you want to use a slit seeder and put the seed in the hopper and have it drop it down. That's fine if you want to do that. I like putting the seed out myself and then running it over with the slit seeder or the dethatcher or whatever you want to use. I just think you get better results and more even coverage that way. Now, if you want, you can be done right there, but as a little bit of added insurance, I am always going to recommend top dressing. Now, I prefer peat moss. I know a lot of people are against peat moss. I like using peat moss. I think peat moss does a fantastic job holding in the moisture, and it will change colors from dark when it's wet to light whenever it's dry and you need to water again, so it tells you when it's time to water. But it also helps protect from the birds coming and eating all your grass seed. Now, I do not like using straw. Straw comes from places you don't know, and it could bring weed seeds into your lawn, and I just don't like it. I don't think it does a good job of holding moisture. And so I just don't like using straw. Now, keep in mind, spreading peat moss is a messy job. It sucks, it hurts your back, you get dirty everywhere. It's just terrible. So if you want, pick up one of these Landsea peat moss spreaders. Makes the job way easier, saves your back. The job literally, it would take, this is 2,000 square feet. It would take me probably 2 hours to cover this entire thing with a quarter layer or a quarter inch of peat moss. With that Landsea peat moss spreader, it takes maybe 20 minutes. It's well worth it in my opinion. Now, it is pricey, but it is worth it, especially if you're going to use it again and again. And so I have used it to top dress my lawn. I top dress with sand over there, and you guys will see that in a video coming up, but well worth it in my opinion. Well worth it. Once you get the top dressing on there, there are two products I'm going to recommend you pick up and put on your lawn. The first one is mesotrione. That is an active ingredient. That is what is in Tenacity. That is in what's in Meso 4SC, I think it's what it's called. I'll leave links down below. I will not tell anybody to do a renovation or seeding in general without applying that, because what that does, prevents weeds from popping up in your lawn, but it doesn't prevent the good grass from popping up in your lawn. Now, in addition to that, I'm going to recommend a liquid fertilizer product. Because the mesotrione is liquid, we're going to put a liquid fertilizer in there. We can mix them together, spray them at the same time. It's just going to be way easier, way more efficient. And so I'm going to recommend the Sanctuary. It's got a little bit of nitrogen, not too much, or it's going to push top growth, but it is going to help with the green color. But it's got phosphorus in there, and phosphorus is what we need when we're seeding, because that's what helps push deep roots. And when we're seeding, it is very important to push the roots and get that going. So I honestly think it's the perfect product to use when seeding. I've been using it on my lawn the entire year, and it looks really fantastic. Does a really good job. So the combo of those two products, that is going to be a solid 1-2 punch here whenever we're seeding. So once we've got that all taken care of, the work is done. Or is it? The most important part of this entire thing, the key to the success of this whole thing, is water. You need to water, I'm going to say 3 times a day for 5 to 7 minutes each zone. Get the entire thing covered. You don't want it to drown. You don't want the seed to be floating in water, but you want enough to where it gets into the soil. You want the water to cover the grass seed. That is what is going to cause the grass seed to germinate. You want to be consistent. You have to be consistent here. So 3 times a day, morning, early afternoon, late afternoon, 5 to 7 minutes each zone. Get it done. So those are the steps you need to follow. Those are the steps that I did in the front yard to get it like that. That is what I did to take my front yard from, honestly, it looked great, but I wanted to try something different. So I burned it down, made it look like this, and it was crispy, and now it looks Absolutely fantastic, as well as the backyard. The backyard is thick and healthy and thriving, and all of these things I use the exact same steps that I have laid out right here. So if you want to do a renovation, you want to do a full kill off, you want a perfect lawn with the same type of grass all throughout, I don't know what you're waiting on. See you guys.